I was told my baby hadn't grown in 4 weeks. It is now Monday again. Actually, no, it's Tuesday. 8 days since I was told I needed an urgent growth scan. I don't know how urgent it could have been because it's been 8 days. I had concerns last Monday that they would use this to try and induce me, stop me having a home birth, or just like really control my labour. I'm the only one in control of my birth. Sorry if you are someone that thinks like the doctors and the midwives always know best, and obviously I'm not saying that I am more of a doctor or a midwife than a doctor and a midwife, but I definitely know my body. I'm the only one that will have a gut feeling about my baby and my body. No one else can have gut feelings. They can have textbook opinions, but I don't have anything that makes me a high risk. So I'm going to go ahead with the home birth. I finally have a scan today, so I'll let you guys know how it goes. I feel really confident. I don't feel stressed, and I'm going to surround myself with positive birth media, stories, videos.
Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm a birth doula, and let's talk about what is going on here. I do have an update, so stay for the end of the video. So this mom goes into her routine doctor's appointment and they do the fundal check, which is where they measure how big your fundus is, how big your belly is. And according to her fundal height, she hasn't grown in 4 weeks. It is actually perfectly normal to be about 2 weeks off. So she's about 2 weeks from the normal. So they decided to send her for an ultrasound to get a growth ultrasound, which is where they compare your baby from the last time they saw the baby on ultrasound to now. Here is one thing that they may find. They may find that your baby has something called IUGR, which is Intrauterine Growth Restriction, and it's a placental issue. Sometimes the placenta just says, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm tired, and it can cause your baby to not get all of the nutrients through that umbilical cord and through that placenta. If they do find out your baby does have IUGR, they will then most likely induce you, because the longer you stay pregnant, your placenta is not going to get better the longer you stay pregnant. It's just going to get worse. It's not something that if you rest for a little bit, it's going to get better. Sometimes the placenta just can be very, very ornery. I know this mom is in the UK, and home births and midwives are so very much used over there more than it is in the US. You know, she said that she is low risk, and the thing about pregnancy and birth is you can be low risk until you're not. Something can happen to make you high risk, and something like IUGR, which is the growth restriction, is one of those things where you can go from being low risk to not being low risk anymore. Now here's a little update. She did eventually have her ultrasound. She had it a few days ago, and they did find that her baby was growing perfectly, which that is great. If her baby had not been growing perfectly and she still decided to go the route of a home birth and a midwife, it could put her baby at risk. Because it's a placental issue and that placenta does die off, it can cause stillbirth. I also want to touch on one other thing.
I just don't know why I was thinking about packing up all of my home comforts to go to a hospital with bright lights, where the last time I was in a hospital I had a migraine and blackouts, and then they still let me drive home.
That right there explains so much. A lot of people who have home births, get midwives, and are so against hospitals have had something happen in the past that has made them believe that hospitals are not okay and that hospitals will control you. Unfortunately, hospitals do not have a great rep, especially with childbirth. So I totally empathize with this mom and knowing exactly how she feels. Sometimes it can be really, really hard when that trust has been broken in the past, and they never should have sent you home in that condition. And I am so sorry that they did. So if you find yourself going to a growth scan and your baby being diagnosed with IUGR, which is Intrauterine Growth Restriction, just know that it is nothing to do with you. It is not your fault. It's not your baby's fault. It just sometimes happens where that placenta just doesn't like being pregnant longer. And it is okay to change your mind about what kind of birth you are actually going for. It's okay to also grieve the birth you thought you would have. So thankfully this mom is okay and her baby is okay, but if you ever find yourself in this situation, just know that it is not your fault. It is not your baby's fault. Blame that stupid placenta. If you guys like more of this content, please follow along.